Hello everyone, welcome back to my corner of the internet. My name is Cait and today we are going to be talking about some underrated literary gems. So I went rooting through my bookshelves to try and find some books that I think don't get enough coverage as they probably should, or maybe need a little bit of a boost in the booktube community. There are a couple here, and I mean, now that I'm just like sitting here, I keep thinking of more. I will talk through the ones that I have here. What I have tried to do is identify books for many genres of readers, and also some books that are probably like lesser known classics, and even a play that I think definitely deserves a shout out. So I'm going to try and talk through all of these books, and if I think of others as I'm talking through, I will also mention those, even if I don't have the physical book here with me. So let's start with the one that I have read most recently, because this one shocked me out of my system, let me just say, and that is Walk Like a Girl by Claudia Esnouf. This book was kindly sent to me by the author. Claudia actually is my godmother's niece, so we know each other. We actually know each other, but I got this book and I honestly did not expect to love it as much as I did. I polished this book literally in like 24 hours. I polished this book because the insanely profound journey that Claudia goes through, this is semi-autobiographical, it's mainly autobiographical, of Claudia's walks through different parts of the world like Nepal and Spain, and it's all of her sort of thoughts that she encounters and the transformation that she goes through during these couple of months of walking. And I was blown away by this book. It is not your typical sort of nature writing travel book, even though it does have those elements in it. I think what is profound to me with this book is the fact that so many people start on journeys where they think they have an idea about what they are going through, or what they kind of want to get out of it at the end. And by the end of that journey, or once that sort of really pivotal, important moment has happened and taken place, they realize that there is something so much more profound going on within their individual personalities, within their individual identities. And that's why, to me, this book was just so phenomenal, maybe because it was like incredibly relatable with sort of the identity crisis that I am having at the moment, about whether I am, more of an academic than I am a corporate lawyer. I don't know, but either way, I think it is absolutely fundamental for everyone to read this book, because even if you aren't like a nature or a travel book person, there is something truly profound in reading about someone's self-discovery journey, and how actually insanely relatable that is. This is a recent book. It has just been published, so you will probably find it in your local bookshops, and I 120% recommend this to anyone, actually, because it is a lovely, fun, easy read. It's really nice and sort of light and easy to get through. Could even kind of be like a beach read kind of read, and I absolutely love it. So I would totally recommend that people pick up this book and give it the love that it deserves. The second book that I want to talk about is for all my fantasy, science fiction, fantasy readers out here on booktube, and that is this phenomenal book. I have spoken about this book on my channel a fair few times, and I still don't think this book is given the due credit that it deserves. This is Vita Nostra by Marina and Sergey Dyachenko. I do not know how to pronounce these names, but this book blew my mind. This is a dark academia, magical fantasy, science fiction, everything thrown into one profound book that is, if Kafka was writing this book, like this is Kafka if Kafka was dark academia. Like honestly, it's absolutely incredible. I do pride myself on reading fantasy books and being able to identify the little catch at the end, as all fantasy books tend to have. It's like the little catch at the end. I think there's only been one book where I haven't been able to identify the catch, but this book I had no idea. Absolutely no idea. Even up until like the last couple of pages, I was just on tenterhooks the whole time. This book was absolutely fantastic, and no one's talking about it. No one is talking about Vita Nostra. It was amazing. It was so good. I don't even really have words for it. I don't have words for it, except for the fact that it's like, if Kafka was writing dark academia, this would be the book. And for all my fantasy girlies out there, for all my dark academia girlies out there, anyone that loved The Secret History, anyone that loves Piranesi, anyone that loves those kind of books, you need to read this. And if you haven't read it, what are you doing? Because oh my goodness gracious me, this book is beautiful, incredible, well written, well structured, interesting, engaging, different, just different, down to a T, different. So 120% recommend this. I just realized that I haven't been reading blurbs, so I'm just gonna jump back to Walk Like a Girl before I read this book. Actually, I'll read this book quickly. Oh, this is blurry. There we go. Let's try this again. Whilst on holiday, Sasha is asked by the mysterious ferret to undertake a strange task for him. Reluctantly, she obliges and is rewarded with shining golden coins. The more tasks she performs, the more coins Sasha receives, until Ferret instructs her, against the wishes of her family, to travel to a remote village and use her gold to gain entrance to the Institute of Special Technologies. Sasha quickly discovers this is no ordinary school. The books are impossible to read, the lessons obscure to the point of maddening, and the knowledge itself refuses to be remembered. Despite this, Sasha undergoes changes that defy matter and time, with experiences that are nothing like what she could have dreamed of before, but which are suddenly all she could ever want. But this learning comes at a cost. The school uses terror and coercion to keep students in line. Should they transgress at all, their families pay a terrible price. Read it. It's so good. It's so good. I'll just read the blurb for this and then pop it back in. Claudia Esnouf went on a fearless, soul-searching odyssey to reclaim herself after the worst kind of heartbreak. For nearly a year, she ventured deep into the wilds of the Caucasus Mountains. I don't know how to say that, I'm sorry. Trekked through the spiritual heart of Nepal and navigated the chaos of India, all while battling inner turmoil. Along the way, she faced down a rampaging water buffalo, survived a freezing glacier crossing, and unknowingly camped in a minefield. After returning to Europe, she embarked on the Camino Frances, and even after reaching Santiago de Compostela, again, maybe not reading that right, refused to stop walking the Camino Portuguese as well, covering over 1,800 kilometers in 8 months. Walk Like a Girl is a testament to the strength it takes to keep walking even when you're not sure where the path will lead. Spectacular. Okay, moving on. For my horror girlies, this book is incredible. For my horror, sort of mysterious, sort of gothic, sort of eco girlies or eco readers or things like that, this book, Where I End by Sophie White, I have never been more freaked out reading a book in my life. So the scary thing about, so Sophie White is an Irish writer, right? Where I End is published by one of my favorite independent presses, which is something I've also really considered while pulling these books together, is who the publishing house is. This is Tramp Press. This is an independent publishing house here in Ireland. Walk Like a Girl is Spa Style Books, which I haven't even heard of. And then, Vita Nostra looks like is done by HarperCollins, maybe. I'm not sure. But I don't know why more people aren't talking about this book. It was published a couple of years ago, and it is just so bizarrely uncanny and so creepy and so weird and so twisted, yet so beautiful. Like, the ending to this book, even though it's just like mind-blowing, is also just so well done. The thing that I love about this book is the fact that every little thing connects. Every little bit connects. There is not a word in this book that is out of place, or that shouldn't be there, or that is verbose, or that doesn't in some way add to the bizarrely dark, torrential, tumultuous atmosphere that this book exudes. And that's why I just can't believe people don't know about this book. Again, I also have a couple of Irish authors here, actually only two. Yeah, only two. But exceptional. If you like the books of Shirley Jackson, then this is the one for you. Okay, Sophie White, let me read the back. Also, I might butcher the Irish names in here, don't judge me. Even though I'm Irish, don't judge me. Eileen has never left the island. Her silent, bed-bound mother is the survivor of a private disaster no one will speak about. She desperately wants a family, and when artist Rachel and her baby move to the island, she finds a focus for her relentless love. Read it. Okay, keeping with some Irish authors. This book, In Ordinary Time, I haven't seen anyone talk about this book, but this book is incredible. I kind of pulled this book because of the psychological element to it, the trauma that kind of goes through this book. I pulled it because it has a very deep and very evocative story. And In Ordinary Time by Carmel McMahon, this book is just quite quintessential. It's almost as if you've read Brooklyn, this is that, but deeper and more emotional. It's not the romance. It's not about the romance. It's actually about the importance of what migration, the impact that migration had on the Irish. And it's absolutely fantastic. And I haven't seen anyone talk about this book. Also, the reason that I bring this up is because this is quite autobiographical. It has a lot of biographical elements to it. So by all means, this is really deep. There are probably some trigger warnings attached to this book. Please do look those up if you are interested in this book but you're worried about it. But yeah, it's insane. It's incredible. In 1993, aged 20, Carmel McMahon fled Ireland for New York, carrying 2 suitcases of unsuitable clothes and a ton of unseen baggage. She was to spend nearly 3 decades away. It took years and a bitter struggle with alcohol addiction to unpick the intricate traumas of her past and present. Multi-layered, captivating, candid, yet lyrical, In Ordinary Time mines the way in which trauma reverberates across time and through individuals' lives, drawing connections to the events, rhythms, and iconographies of Ireland's long Celtic, early Christian and Catholic history, as well as the legacy of British colonialism. From the pain of tragically lost and broken siblings to the broader social scars of the famine and Magdalen laundries, McMahon profiles the evolution of a consciousness through her conservative 1970s upbringing, the rootless freedom of millennial New York, and the much-changed Ireland of today. Incredible. Okay, I think most people would have actually heard of this book, but I wanted to bring it in here for a number of reasons. One, because of the publishing house. This is an independent publishing house. This is Fitzcarraldo. Most people will know about Fitzcarraldo. They have been prevalent in a lot of the book prizes in the last couple of years because they just have such a unique way of pinning down authors that are just so different. So different from what you read in the current literature, so different in their use of narrative voice or structure, or just unique in a lot of ways. But also the reason that I wanted to bring out this book is because of translation. Obviously, I couldn't get through a book video without talking about translation and translated literature. And as much as I would love to be able to read Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead in the original Polish, I don't speak Polish, nor do I read it. So this is Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead, Olga Tokarczuk. I hope I'm saying that right. Someone told me how to say it, and now I can't remember if I'm saying that right. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Anyway, she was a winner of the Nobel Prize for Literature a couple of years ago, and this particular version is translated by Antonia Lloyd-Jones. The reason, I think most people would have heard of this book. Maybe it's just not really prevalent. She wrote 2 other books that have also circulated, the books of Jacob, which I have been trying to get through. It's a tome and I'm really struggling with it, but this book was just incredible. And the reason I want to bring this book into this list is because of the way that this book, your protagonist in this book is an old woman. You very rarely find that in literature where you have such a different protagonist. Usually it's a young person or a child. I can actually say that most of the protagonists in the books that I'm talking about are younger, like either children or teenagers or early 20s. This is an old woman. And the environmental effects of this book are so incredible. So this book is for all of my literary fiction readers. If you've never read any of her books, you absolutely need to pick up one of her books, because there is just something so brilliant, so amazing about the way that she writes, about her use of poetry, her use of astronomy. It's just different and it's just wonderful, and absolutely have to read it. Okay, I'm gonna breeze through the last couple of ones. These are going to be a bit more sort of literary, academic kind of books. I'm going to start with the play that I mentioned. This is an early modern play. This is The Tragedy of Mariam by Elizabeth Carey. This is a lesser known play. Elizabeth Carey wrote this play as what is known as a parlor play, essentially. I think it's called the parlor play. I'll have to double check that in my notes. But as you can see, I have well loved the notes of this book. It is such an incredible play about the role of women in society, and it's just not read enough outside of literary sort of scholarship, and yet I think anyone who reads it just finds it so fantastic. There's not a similar play in terms of context, but a similar play in terms of effect, which is Salt by Selina Thompson. I will leave a picture of that here. Just so not known and yet so profound. The Tragedy of Mariam is the first early modern play to be authored by a woman. Set in Jerusalem, the action centers on the relationship between the infamous Herod and his beautiful wife Mariam, telescoped into 24 hours and involving family intrigues, missing monarchs, and extramarital liaisons. Mariam delineates an emotional landscape culminating in madness and martyrdom. It's really fantastic. Its concern with the dangers of political tyranny and female emancipation give the play compelling rhetoric power. This edition by which is edited and provided with a fantastic introduction by Ramona Ray is really brilliant. This is the Ardent Shakespeare edition, so highly recommend reading that. And in similar lines for my Jane Austen, Mary Wollstonecraft, Mary Shelley readers, classical readers, the Memoirs of Emma Courtney by Mary Hayes. I did not know about this book until I did my master's, and I actually cannot believe that I did not know about this book. This and, oh gosh, what's it called now? It's just gone. A Simple Story by Elizabeth something. Put it here. Both of these books are just so not well known, and yet they are so brilliant. Mary Hayes and Elizabeth, someone whose name I just cannot remember. These are all contemporaries of Mary Wollstonecraft and Mary Shelley. No, Mary Wollstonecraft and like Jane Austen, they all write about the ideas of women's education, for instance. And the reason I picked this book out of the other one is because of its quote here, which is, "I feel that I am neither a philosopher nor a heroine, but a woman to whom education has given a sexual character." Emma Courtney is a passionate young woman who questions conventional attitudes by ardently pursuing the man she loves. The Memoirs is one of the most articulate expressions of the frustrations of a woman confined by society's expectations of appropriate conduct and behavior in love and marriage. For Mary Hayes, the laws of late 18th century English society have enslaved, enervated, and degraded woman. First published in the turbulent decade following the French Revolution, Memoirs of Emma Courtney is partly autobiographical and is based on Hayes' own struggle with Romantic and Enlightenment philosophy. A key sentimental novel, it also embraces other genres such as life writing, the epistle, and philosophical essay. A feminist and ardent disciple of Mary Wollstonecraft, Hayes reveals the lamentable gap between what women are and what women ought to be. If you love Jane Austen, then you absolutely should read this book. Finally, I'm going to conclude quickly with Sophie's World. I've spoken about this, and this is by Jostein Gaarder. This book, I'll admit, only read parts of it. I haven't read the full bit of this book, but even so, this book has stuck with me, and I don't see a lot of people talking about this book. This is essentially a study of philosophy in a fictional narrative, and even the parts of this book that I have read, I have just fallen in love with this book so much. Looking in her mailbox one morning, a 14-year-old Norwegian schoolgirl called Sophie finds a surprising piece of paper. On it are written two questions: who are you, and where did the world come from? The writer is an enigmatic philosopher called Albert Knox, and his two teasing questions are the beginning of an extraordinary tour, through the history of Western philosophy from the pre-Socrates to Sartre. In a series of brilliantly entertaining letters and then in person with his dog Hermes, love that, Albert Knox opens Sophie's inquiring mind to the fundamental questions that philosophers have been asking since the dawn of civilization. But as soon as Sophie begins to find her feet in the dazzling, exciting new world, she and Albert find themselves caught up in a plot, which is itself most perplexing philosophical conundrum. Okay, there are a couple of other books that I have been thinking about while I've been putting this list together. One which I'm going to flag up is one of my favorite books of all time, which is We the Living by Ayn Rand. I will put a link here. I know there is some significant controversy when it comes to Rand and her novels. We the Living is not one of the books that is most spoken about when it comes to her sort of philosophy and her ideology. It's usually, The Fountainhead or Atlas Shrugged. We the Living, however, is one of those books that I just feel has so much more depth and emotion to it than The Fountainhead or Atlas Shrugged or Anthem, for instance. Anthem's a different kettle of fish entirely. But I feel like if you want an introduction into Rand and you just kind of want to explore a little bit, she doesn't do her philosophy that much. Her book We the Living is partially biographical, but by no means in any way accurate. It just draws on her experiences of fleeing Russia before the Russian Revolution. And there is some really profound and depth moments in that book, and I just think that a lot of people are quick to condemn The Fountainhead, for instance, and rightly so. There are some very problematic elements to that book. but I would encourage a little bit of open-minded thinking when it comes to We the Living, and maybe an opportunity to challenge your current thoughts on the subject. One of the other books that I will flag up, which is by the same publishers here, Tramp Press, which is Fane by Anne-Marie MacDonald. Such a fantastic sort of Victorian era type book, but which encounters a lot of very prevalent and very real themes of today's society. And if you want something that's just really immersive, very, very atmospheric, very sort of Victorian-esque touches of, Emily Bronte's sort of Wuthering Heights kind of vibe with the dark, sort of stormy skies. This is set on the border between England and Scotland, so it's got sort of that Scottish sort of moody atmosphere to it, while also diving into this idea of what is identity and what it means to reclaim your identity. Okay, that's enough. That's plenty. I will list all of these in the description box below. Thank you for being here with me while I just talk about books, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.